Hey guys, Joshy here, back for another episode, BJ on Game Day, and we have reached the minor premiers from 2019, the Melbourne Storm. It's taken us a little while to get there, but we've finally gone through all 16 teams, the team previews, 2020, NRL Supercoach. We're back, we're not too far away, days away from the season kicking off, and Team List Tuesday, the big reveal. So guys, definitely jump on board, make sure you jump onto the BJ on Game Day group code. Oh, excuse me. Tonight, joined by the wonderful...
It's a Friday night.
Huh? Yeah,
it is a Friday night, so burps are allowed. Thanks, Joshy. Here reviewing the Storm again. I've got another fucking logo criticism for the Storm. So currently on the screen at the moment is the Melbourne Storm's logo for 2020. And it's fucking terrible. Not only have they simplified it from their traditional logo, they've put this fucking grey trim around the logo that blends in with the background of fucking everything, and you get this fucking jagged effect. I'm sure you can see it on your screen, Joshy. I'm sure all the viewers at home will see it. It's fucking terrible. Now, I'm obviously not the only person that's having this problem with it, because I noticed on the Supercoach site they're still using the Storm's original logo as well.
Right.
So they're the only team that they haven't updated to the modern logo. So,
are you sure that's the current one? Because it looks fucking pop.
It is pop. This is the original Storm logo, and I'm not a fan of the modern logos, but as they go, this one's probably one of the better ones. And... yeah, so we're sticking with that because it's a lot cleaner and it looks a lot fucking nicer.
Fair enough. All right. Well, we'll run through their team in a sec, guys. But just for folks at home, obviously we're going to start, the video content will slim down a little bit now that the season has kicked off. We obviously want to give plenty of people as much information as we can before the start of the season so you can get the best team possible and enjoy Supercoach as much as possible as well, guys. So we will be doing, going back to just the one video a week. Brent and I will team up when we can. If not, obviously Brent's got a couple of kids now and another one on the way, so he's finding it a little bit hard to get in and week out. So whether it's Bogan that jumps on the other end of the line, we are trying to organise maybe another viewer or two, people who follow our league. I know I've had a few guys put their hands up to jump on board, so we might experiment with that this year. We'll wait and see. But guys, the weekly content will continue. We're going to have the Crystal Ball segment will be back. We may or may not be doing the challenges. We will do challenges, but we've
gone. You will be doing the challenges. Leave your ideas for challenges in the comments. We've got a lot of new subscribers this season, so if you want to see Brent eat a chili again and think that he's okay, but then progressively get worse as the show goes on.
Yeah.
What is the chips?
Oh, the hot chips, yeah.
You want to
the Vegemite.
You want to see Josh King pussy out of drinking?
Oh, the cat food.
Eating the cat food and drinking
cat food I never ate,
and drinking half a dozen eggs that you chickened out of. What? There was one challenge where, and you'll notice that I still use it in the graphics a lot, where Josh had to dress as a clown.
Yep.
But part of that bet was
Circus.
Part of that bet was he wasn't allowed to say why he was dressed as a clown, and no one mentioned anything. No one said, why is Josh dressed as a clown? But so
the challenges. Well, look, the challenges will be back, but according to Brent, he just wants to maybe tweak the frequency a little bit. So whether it's week in, week out, or whether we basically do, say, a group of 3 challenges over 3 weeks, and best of 3 challenges wins. And because we sort of started to run out of ideas when it came to the end of last season, we don't want to run through the same ideas again.
People were suggesting get a tattoo, and it's like,
I've got plenty of those things. I've got them everywhere.
Nothing that causes a permanent scar or potential to cause permanent injuries. These blokes have got kids they have to feed.
I tell you what. From a tattoo point of view, I've actually got a tramp stamp. So let's announce that live on air. Now you guys will never see it.
First challenge, Josh has to reveal his tramp stamp.
But I've got a tramp stamp, so there you go. It's a beauty too.
Is it a tribal pattern?
It's not a mate. It's a dove. It's a dove. All right. I've got actually. Me and the boys, me and my mates, we've taken to calling it champ stamp rather than tramp stamp. So it's the champ stamp. But actually, being an amateur boxer, mate, I'm glad we wear singlets in the ring because if I have to have that out there in the ring, they'd think it was women's boxing. Yeah, guys. So we'll be running the crystal ball segment. We'll be running the challenges, things like that. We're going to introduce a Bogan's rant because he loves to have a good rant week in, week out, and there's always something. So we're going to introduce a Bogan's rant.
Maybe the week Brent is on, we'll do the crystal ball, and then in between we'll do the Bogan's rant. But I'm sure we'll lose subscribers from my rants because I have some pretty unpopular opinions at times.
Mate, that's all right. Look, bad news sells. Everything like that. We do sex sells, but we've got no sexy stuff on our show. So there you go.
We've got a host with a tramp stamp.
Yeah, champ, CHAMP, champ stamp. But so what do we got? We got those. We're going to run through all the 3 leagues each week, so we'll give as much sort of time to those towards the end of the videos. So obviously people can get the weekly content, and then anyone who wants to run through the league stuff could stick around towards the end of the video. But guys, we've digressed enough. Let's jump onto the Melbourne Storm, minor premiers from last year. Let's have a look at their NRL.com predicted team. We might have mentioned it in one of the previous videos. I think one of our boys, Jalen, had Brinko Lee as a centre 3/4. Now, you'll see him there in the others. The tip is, and I know these were published a long time ago, but the tip is still that Marion Seve and Justin Olam will play the centre winger position. So it looks like at this stage, Brinko Lee will not get a spot. He'll have to bide his time in the East Tigers up here in Queensland. But look, the superstar, the young gun, Ryan Papenhuyzen, absolutely massive season last year on debut. The fact that he averaged 55, I think it was, or whatever it was, with 5 scores under 20 because he only had about 5 or 10 minutes on the field. Absolutely phenomenal, this guy. I've got him in there. I think he'll be a keeper. I really do. I think he's going to tip that 700,000. Look, he's got a little bit to prove whether he is up to that Teddy and Turbo class, but everything I've seen so far, I can't see this guy slowing down. We look at what Damien Cook's done now. He's basically Damien Cook as a fullback. He's got plenty of ball skills. He shows up everywhere. What we've seen with Billy Slater in the past, it's hard to say. Billy's such a great player, and his instinct was better than anyone I've ever seen on the field. But there's a lot of things about Papenhuyzen that reflects what Billy Slater did. Look, Josh Adokar, he's been in a few teams in the past. Little bit of controversy. Well, not so much controversy, but he's wanted to get a release from the Melbourne Storm, and it hasn't happened yet. So, looked pretty happy in the All-Stars, to be honest. He was having a ball out there with the boys. Played quite well. Might find his way into a team or two. Obviously, we'll be playing for the New South Wales Blues again this year because he's a fantastic winger. Look, Marion Seve, Justin Olam, not too much Supercoach relevance there. We spoke about Vunivalu in a previous episode where his game for Supercoach has just gone a little bit downhill. Gone are the days of 2017 where he was one of the best centre wingers in the game for Supercoaches. And the last 2 years, we've seen him sort of average around that sort of 38 to 40 points. Cam Munster, Jerome Hughes in the halves, both probably due for another big year. Jesse Bromwich and Nelson Asafa Solomona in the front row pairing. Now, look, with big Nas, with big Jesse, bit of a resurrection last year for Jesse Bromwich. Scored a few tries, laid a few on, a few offloads here and there. So he had a bit of an improved season. And look, Nas, he's one I've stayed away from all the time because I've never been convinced about him for Supercoach. He's big, he's fast, he's dominating, he's intimidating, but he doesn't really score many Supercoach points. He doesn't play the massive 60, 65 minutes that these high-scoring front rowers do. And he really needs to if he's going to impact on Supercoach. Cam Smith, look, another big year drop for Cam Smith. The guy just keeps playing on. So surely, we've probably said it the last 3 or 4 years, surely this has got to be the last year. But he keeps on keeping on. We've got his heir in waiting, the namesake Brendan Smith on the bench. Unfortunately injured himself with a facial fracture in the All-Stars 9s, but quite easily, the best player on the park in that game. He shows how much talent he is and how much he's learned off Cameron Smith. So just waiting there for him to get a spot. In the back row there, Felice Kafusi. Now, probably gone a little bit quiet, Felice Kafusi. Since the Cooper Cronk departure, he really hasn't had that effective half inside him. Jerome Hughes plays the right-hand side, but he's not the general that Cooper is, and he can't put players into holes like Cooper could. And Felice has shown that he runs some amazing lines and amazing holes. So probably the one downside to the Melbourne Storm is, I guess, that lack of potency on the right-hand side because of that combination. So hopefully they've worked on that on the off-season. Kenny Bromwich on the left-hand side. Now, I actually read one of the Supercoach NRL bulletins, whatever you want to call them, stories today on Facebook. And a bit of a surprise, Kenny Bromwich, he only made 8 errors in a full season of football last year. That was 1 every 3 games. Now, for a guy who plays massive minutes as a back rower and probably touches the ball at least 20 times a game, to only make 1 error every 3 games is absolutely huge. So no doubt that contributed a lot to his higher average last year. His discipline, everything like that was absolutely fantastic. So we've seen him in 1 or 2 of the teams previously that people have done for the Pimp My Team. And I'm a big fan. He was our pod for the Melbourne Storm. I think he can have another huge year. Moving on to the bench now. Look, I think what we see with blokes like Kafusi, Kenny Bromwich, Dale Finucane, these guys play big minutes or can play big minutes. I don't think the likes of the Tui Kamitha, Faso Maleo, fucking hell, Tino, Jesus Christ. Can't we just shorten it? Tino Far. Thomas Eisenhuth, look, these guys, if they do get spots, they're just not going to get massive minutes where they can jump up huge in price. Kamikamitha, he was okay last year, but he looks just big and slow, and I reckon teams can figure him out. Tino, a lot of raps around this guy. I think he has signed with the Gold Coast Titans from the season after. So, again, whether he gets huge minutes or not based on that, I'm not too sure. Same with Eisenhuth. Look, you've got a bunch of guys on the bench there, on the others there that may get a start, but we spoke about it in Pimp My Team with Cooper Johns. You've really got to earn your stripes at Melbourne Storm. They don't have a massive injury toll. They have very, very solid players, very healthy players. You really see their bench forwards only get about 20 to 25 minutes. So if you're only going to be at 1 or even 1.2 per minute, that's only 30. That's a max of 30 points per game. So it's really not an average where you're going to get some huge cash rises. One guy we're all interested in is Harry Grant. We've spoken about Cam Smith in the 9. We've spoken about Brandon Smith, about how good he is. Harry Grant, in Queensland Cup last year, was absolutely massive. He was the best player in the comp by far. He plays the hooking role, which is why we're talking about Cam Smith and Brandon Smith as well. The fact is that he's probably going to walk in as a starting hooker anywhere else except for Damien Cook. And he's behind these 2 blokes, So there was talk in the off-season of a switch, him to the West Tigers for Paul Momorowski. Unfortunately, some injury concerns for Momorowski put that on the back burner. And I'm not too sure now that we're this close to the season it will happen. But if there ever was to be a player swap, it would be the first of its kind in the NRL. We see it all the time in the EPL where players go on loan to other clubs and things like that. It'd be really exciting. I'd love to see it. So we'll just have to wait and see for that. One player on the bench there, Christian Welch. Christian Welch, obviously another major ACL injury, so all the best to him. Really big fan of this guy, even though he is a Queenslander. I think he plays some good football. So hopefully he can come back, because I think he's got some Supercoach potential as well if he makes it back on the park in 2020. But let's jump over to the draw, if you got it there, mate, for the Melbourne Storm. And I know they got the Sharkies in the second round. I've seen that much. Oh, a bit dry. Manly in the first round.
Yeah, that'll be a top game. Manly versus Storm. That's a great game to have
mate,
in the opening
we spoke
round.
about this. Yeah, we spoke about this in an earlier episode.
Probably in the Manly team review. But yeah.
Well, I just want to see them sort of play later in the season. They do have great games, but as you spoke about, Manly can be a little bit slow to start with. There's no Jake Trbojevic. There's no Adam Fanua-Blake. If they could play in round 7 or 8, that'd be good, because I reckon that all these guys, these superstars, would be peaking for Origin. But anyway, a bit of a tough run early. You've got Manly, you've got the Sharkies, Penrith Panthers, and the Bunnies early on before you get to a couple of easier games in the Storm. In the Titans. They could sort of go through this 1-3. If they went through this period 3-1, I reckon they'd be really, really happy with that start of the season, because all 4 of those teams are dangerous. Now, the Sharkies, I think we might be in for a tough year. I think the Sharkies might miss the 8 this year. I think we'll be found out in a few different ways in the forward pack. We looked a bit slow last year. We looked a little bit like other forward packs could dominate. And one thing Melbourne haven't lost is their brilliant forward pack. So we might be in a bit of trouble round 2. But yeah, guys, that's it for another episode, the final episode of the team previews. As I say, guys, a couple of days till the season starts now. Not long now. Team list Tuesday. It might have even already come out by the time we launch this video. I'm not too sure. But
it'll be out before Team List Tuesday.
It'll be out before Team List Tuesday. All right, so Team List Tuesday will be coming shortly. So everyone, keep an eye out for that one, and let us know your final teams via the Facebook page. Jump on the BJ on GameDay Supercoach. God, jump on the BJ on GameDay Supercoach group code 218667. Cheers, guys. Good luck this season. Hey guys, Joshy here. Thanks very much for joining us for another episode of BJ on GameDay. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, hit the bell on YouTube for all your notifications. If you do want to follow us on Facebook, you can find us there at BJ on GameDay, and on Twitter we're at BJ on GameDay as well. So guys, we'd really like your support with that. Follow us so we can know you guys are enjoying the content. Thanks very much.